more does not automatically mean better.
Right.
And we are also under the false assumption that we have unlimited amount of energy that we can spend throughout the day. That is so false.
Welcome to another episode of the Love Atlas, the podcast dedicated to exploring the depths of relationships, improving connections, and facing challenges head on. I'm your host, Sunana Sharma, and today we have a special guest, Vishal Dasani, the author of Sleep Healing and the Power of Sleep. So, Vishal, tell us all about your journey.
Well, the journey has been a bit of a roller coaster ride because what people know me as a sleep coach back in Indonesia, I actually started off being the finance guy. So I was actually a financial consultant
Yeah.
uh, who took a detour into the fitness industry. And then when the COVID hit all of us, I took another detour into sleep department.
Okay.
So yeah, the journey has been unpredictable back then. So I did not see myself doing this, but yeah, it's been great. It's been
That's
great.
wonderful. And then what motivated you to write these books and very unique books about just having to be able to have this wonderful and healthy relationship within yourself through just sleeping and having a good night's sleep.
Well, to be honest, there was no motivation of that sort to write a book. I actually just wanted to create webinars for the people of Indonesia,
Okay.
but throughout the process, like one of the publishers approached me and asked whether my webinar materials can be used and converted into a book. I said, sure, why not?
Oh,
So
wow.
that's when I started writing a book. And then from one book, because I felt that it was just the surface level,
Mhm.
I spoke to the publisher, can we go book number two to dive deeper into it?
Okay, that's wonderful. And then in your book, Sleep Healing and the Power of Sleep, you discuss the importance of quality of sleep, how it's so important. Like, if I'm not sleeping properly at night, I can't function the next days. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate. So, how
Yes.
does sleeping affect emotional intimacy and connection, would you say, when it comes to partnership?
Well, I'm gonna go a bit geeky here.
Sure,
I hope
sure.
that's okay. So when we get this quality sleep that we are talking about, we are not only getting the benefits physically, but mentally and emotionally. Because during our sleep, we experience what's called the rapid eye movement sleep phase. And it's during these rapid eye movement stages that our emotions are properly regulated, which means that once we wake up from a good night's sleep, we feel to have more empathy towards others.
Mm,
We tend to be more rational, not impulsive. We tend to be less reactive. We tend to be more loving to our loved ones, and we we tend to see everything in the world from the lens of, okay, I can handle this, like, all is well. that
yeah.
that So that's what you get when you get a good night's sleep. So everything becomes okay, I can manage this. Whatever life throws at me, I can handle it.
Yeah, yeah. And then, I mean, the big question would be for people who are not able to have this good night's sleep, how can they start sleeping well?
Well, to be honest, many people these days, at least from majority of my clients that I deal with, I see them having difficulties in slowing things down. Like from morning to evening, we are, this
Go,
in
go,
in
go.
hustling mode. Let's, go hard or go home
Yeah,
mentality.
yeah.
And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with working hard. I'm just saying that if you work hard, but you find difficulties to slow things down or slow yourself down, then sleep becomes difficult for you. Because to be honest, sleep is your innate skill. You
Mm,
actually came to this world with three innate skills, like the skill to search for food, the skill to reproduce, and the skill to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So technically saying that sleep is already ingrained in our biology.
Mm-hmm.
It's only when we do not know how to, or we do not know the process behind the sleep process.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is being heavily stimulated or being hyper aroused, then it is difficult for us to relax and go to sleep.
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes absolute sense. I think you're 100% right when it comes to that hustle mentality and being constantly on the go, go, go. Even when you hit your bed, you still have that racing mind and
Yes,
not in that zen state of mind. So just reminding ourselves throughout the day to slow down would allow us to also have a good night's sleep. That makes absolute sense.
true.
Yeah, yeah. And can you explain how sleep deprivation impacts relationships both in terms of communication and conflict resolution?
Well, I'm just going to give my own personal story.
Sure.
When me and my wife, we were heavily sleep deprived because our kid was just born.
Hmm.
There was no conflict resolution, there was only conflict.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult for us to have proper communication. All we see was the other person is at blame. Like, why didn't you take care of him? Why this
Yeah.
happened? Why that happened? It was
Yeah.
very pointing fingers behavior. And then both of us used to get only like what, 4 to 5 hours of sleep for like a constant 8 to 12 months during that 2017 period.
Yeah.
And there was constant bickering and fighting amongst us till we reached a point. It actually affected my relationship to my son. I would see him as, okay, he is another member of the family, but the bond was never there.
Mm.
So that was quite scary.
Yeah.
And we reached to a point where we decided, okay, you know what? This is not healthy. Let's find a way to solve this. And one of the ways we actually did was we took a separation in the sleeping arrangement. So she would sleep with Sid, our son,
Yeah.
and in one room, and I would sleep on in a different room.
Hmm.
And that helped a lot.
Hmm.
Like how sleep experts call it sleep divorce.
Hmm.
Although I wouldn't put too much emphasis on the divorce part, but
Yeah.
it's just be in a separate room.
Yeah.
That actually helped a lot.
Yeah, and it's so interesting that you say that because we're taught, at least like growing up, I watched a lot of Bollywood movies. It's like, oh, when you're in love, you're supposed to be sleeping together and you should never be in separate rooms. And it's like, oh my goodness, am I doing something wrong if, you're married and you're sleeping in a separate room? It's just like there's so much stigma behind all these things that it's like you have to figure out what works for you. And there's nothing wrong, as you just mentioned. The number one priority is to have sleep so that you can have a healthy relationship with the people you love.
Yep. Society tells us a lot.
Yeah. Then would you say that was a total game changer for you guys?
Yes, it was. It
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Although during that period of time, I did not know anything about the sleep science because I jumped into the field during the COVID pandemic, which was 2020. So
Okay.
2017, it was just logical thinking, like, okay, let's just sleep in separate rooms and we take it from there.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And then stress often disrupts sleep patterns at times, right? When, as you mentioned earlier, that go, 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 and stress disrupts pretty much everything in life. But it can really come in between, I would say, sleep patterns and relationship dynamics. Do you have any techniques you would recommend to manage stress to ensure that both partners are sleeping, and getting a restful sleep?
Um, well, that's a difficult question. When it comes to stress management, I do not know many techniques, but I know few that have worked on me and my partner. We believe that doing what we like having that me time to do what we like without being disturbed by the other person,
Mhm.
does work wonder. That's number one. Number two, it's through breath manipulation. So during my sleep course, like one of the topics we I learned was breath work.
Yeah.
And when you can manipulate your breathing into more a longer exhale,
Mhm.
like you focus on exhaling longer for a couple of minutes, like 10 to 15 minutes,
Mhm.
you trigger your body to respond in a very relaxed way.
Okay.
So it's the breathwork approach to calm down the stress.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then do you apply that in your life on a daily basis? Do you have a routine?
Yes, I do apply that because according to me, that's one of the easiest ways to calm down.
Okay. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that definitely. And I agree with that. That's something that I'm applying in my life as well. And then how does a good night's sleep enhance empathy, as you mentioned earlier, like empathy and understanding between partners or the people around you?
The thing is, it all goes to your brain works. Like when you get a good night's sleep, your brain gets that restful period of time. Even though during sleep, your brain still works a lot, but
Mhm.
when you get a good night's sleep, enough duration, enough quality of all the stages, and then you sleep on regular, consistent schedule, and then you sleep according to your timing, you wake up feeling refreshed. Your
Mhm.
mood is happy because again, there is that brain chemical which is called serotonin, which is boosted in the morning.
Mhm.
And then a part of your brain which is called amygdala is not hyperreactive, and the part of your brain which is that adult brain prefrontal cortex, they function properly, which can tell your amygdala when it gets hyperactive that chill,
Mhm.
everything is good.
Mhm.
So the brain functions properly to regulate your emotions,
Okay. Got it.
and that's when you see the world with the lens of, yeah, this is a safe space.
Mhm. Mhm. Nice. And then how many hours would you say is enough hours of sleep? Because for everyone it's different. I know for babies it's different, adults it's
Yeah.
different. Is there any science behind how many hours is enough?
So I mean, studies are saying that for adults of the age 18 to 64, they're saying that between 7 to 9 hours is sufficient, or it's a good duration for sleep. However, that's the general advice. When you go back to your specific individual need, it
Mhm.
may vary. Like for me personally, my sleep duration requirement is somewhere between 6 hours 45 minutes to around 7.5 hours. So what I do is I just make sure I track my sleep, and then just to ensure that I get enough duration, like from Monday to Sunday, I
Mhm.
track my sleep and then I get the average of that 1 week. And I
Okay.
just have to make sure that it is somewhere in that range for me. 6 hours 45 minutes to 7.5 hours.
Got it. Okay. And then in today's fast-paced world, as you mentioned, that go, go, go mentality, how can couples balance their sleep needs with their personal and professional responsibilities to maintain a harmonious relationship, would you say?
I think number one would be knowing when to stop. Like we are to some extent conditioned to believe that the more you do, the better it is for you. But when it comes to productivity, what I've learned is more does not automatically mean better.
Right.
And we are also under the false assumption that we have unlimited amount of energy that we can spend throughout the day. That
Mhm.
that is so false. We
Mhm.
have only limited amount, and we need to know how to use them properly.
Right.
That is why after, let's say, 90-minute bouts of heavy work, take a break.
Yeah.
That's when you actually recharge your energy. Don't push it too far.
Yeah.
And when we are able to push hard, take a break, push hard, take a break, it is easier on the system as well. It's
Mhm,
easier on your stress level, and then it's easier on energy management.
mhm,
Well, to be fair, if you have nothing left in the tank, because dealing with a partner or dealing with anyone
mhm,
requires emotional energy. It requires energy. If
mhm,
your energy is already depleted, you are actually running on fumes.
mhm,
How can you expect to give your best to your partner or to anyone for that matter if
mhm.
you're running low on energy?
Yeah, yeah.
So just be aware that number one, we have a limited amount of energy, although this amount can be upgraded through techniques, and know when to stop,
Mm,
learn to take a break,
yeah,
and then learn to slow down. Nobody's telling you to not work hard. Work hard by all means, but
yeah,
learn when to slow. It's just like driving a car.
yeah,
You don't hit the gas all the time.
yeah.
There is a sharp turn. You hit the brake and then, adjust the speed accordingly. Just like that. We just have to learn the delicate balance between when to hit the gas and when to hit the brakes. And
Yeah,
that's how you reach your destination.
definitely. And I think just like reminding ourselves to slow down because we sometimes can just get so caught up with what we're doing that, it's a practice, daily practice.
Yep. This is why I mentioned that we need to define how much is enough for us.
Yeah.
We need to be clear on, okay, for example, today I need to finish three main tasks.
Mhm.
Once it's completed, stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
100%. And then what about nap times? How would you say it's essential? I know a lot of people say take that power nap for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then get back into work and you'll accomplish that given task. So how do you feel about that?
Well, I feel naps are more, do you need it or not, rather than it's bad or it's good.
Right.
So let's say that you have had a terrible night of sleep for whatever reason it is. Like, somebody in the family is sick, or the weather is just not cutting it out for you, or you've just had a stressful day,
Mhm.
which affects your sleep, and you've had shorter duration of sleep. Then napping would be beneficial for you because you've been tired throughout the day.
Mhm.
So taking a short break, taking a nap of let's say 20 30 minutes power nap, that can be beneficial because it gives you a cognitive boost.
Right.
And it is restful enough to give you a boost to tackle the remainder of the day, but it is not detrimental to your night sleep
Mhm.
because napping becomes ill advised if it affects your night sleep.
Right. Right.
So if you're somebody who is having difficulty falling off to sleep at night,
Mhm.
then naps are not advised for you. But if you're somebody who has no issue sleeping at night, you just want to take a quick break to recharge, then take a power nap. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been researching a lot about even, drinking coffee. If you've done any research on drinking coffee, whether, and it's like tricky because a lot of people say that one cup of coffee in the morning is okay. But then certain people are like, oh, I can't drink coffee after like 3 p.m. because then I won't be able to fall asleep at night. For example, when it comes to me, I will only have that one cup of coffee in the morning and that's it. Because if I have that second cup, or even if I have coffee at a later time frame, then I cannot sleep at night till like 2 or 3 in the morning. So I'm like, done deal, not having
Yeah.
it aside from that one cup in the morning. So do you have any advice or tips on that?
Well, when it comes to caffeine consumption, it depends on every individual. It's very personalized because everyone has a different rate to metabolize caffeine.
Right.
So the general advice is cut your caffeine consumption 6 to 8 hours before your regular bedtime. But again, it all depends on individual. Some
Right.
individuals take longer to process caffeine while others take a faster rate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, for those who believe that caffeine doesn't have an impact on me, even though I drink in the like closer to my bedtime, I can still fall off to sleep. For those people, we need to also see that this is for them, that please be mindful, even though they are not disturbing your sleep process, they may shorten your sleep duration and they may affect the quality of your deep sleep. So even though you may get the 6, 7, 8 hours, you
Yeah.
may not feel as refreshed as
Hmm.
compared to if you cut your caffeine hours prior your bedtime. So having coffee is fine. I also enjoy my coffee, and my cutout is around 3 to 4 p.m.
Yeah.
My sleep time is somewhere between 11 to 12 during holidays.
Hmm.
And during SIT's regular school time is between 10:30 to 11. And caffeine has good properties, but just be mindful. What's good depends on the dose, can be bad too. So
Yeah.
just be
Yeah, definitely. And then I would say last but not the least, if you had to give your younger self advice, what advice would it be?
I was very bad at sleeping when I was young. Well, I tell my son, get enough sleep and get morning sun.
Yeah.
And that's what I would advise my younger self. Be experimental, but make sure don't sacrifice your sleep.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you so much for all the wisdom that you shared. And I would say if, for up and coming, since I'm an educator, up and coming students who want to be an author, do you have any words of wisdom for them pursuing the field of, being an author, writing their own book?
In my case, just write what you want to share to the world. Write your belief, write your story, make sure it's something that resonates with you and share it with the rest of the world.
Wow, that was really on point. Thank you so much. Really, really
Yes,
good
ma'am.
conversation with you, and I'm so grateful that you decided to be on my podcast, and I'm glad I asked you. So, I really, really appreciate that.
Thank you for inviting me. I
Yeah,
really had a good chat with you.
yeah.